If you've been telling yourself, I'll just wait for prices to drop further, this might be the video that changes your mind. A year ago, buyers had over 700 more homes to choose from than they do right now. Inventory has fallen nearly 25% since last June, and it's not slowing down. Now, at the same time, something buyers haven't seen in a while just happened. 29 homes raised their asking price in a single week. Not dropped, raised. So here's the question everyone should be asking. If inventory keeps shrinking and sellers are starting to feel confident enough to raise prices, how much longer is Cape Coral going to stay a buyer's market? We're also starting to see something else. Bidding wars. Not everywhere and not on every home, but they're back. That's something we haven't talked about here in years. For sellers, the fear has been, what if I list and nothing happens? For buyers, the fear is, what if I wait and next year there's even less to choose from at a higher price point? Both of those fears are worth taking seriously right now, and I'll show you exactly why. In this update, I'll break down where inventory actually stands, what's happening to median price and days on market, whether Cape Coral is edging towards a seller's market, and what I'd be paying attention to right now if I were buying or selling. I'm Barry Cessna, your Cape Coral Gulf Access Realtor, and this is your 2026 Cape Coral Market Update. Welcome aboard. I'm Barry Cessna, your Cape Coral Gulf Access Realtor, and today we've got a great market update to jump into. This is your Cape Coral Market Update for July 2026. This is going to cover all the single-family homes here in the beautiful city of Cape Coral. We're going to cover days on the market, how much inventory is currently available, and what are homes actually selling for here in the city of Cape Coral. So let's go ahead and jump in. First up, we have to understand market indicators, because if we don't understand the numbers or what they're telling us, then how do we know what we're looking at? So first, those inventory. This is how many homes are currently available on the market here in the city of Cape Coral. The entire amount of single-family homes currently available on the MLS. Median price. This is the price that homes are actually selling for. 50% of the homes sold above this amount, 50% of the homes sold below this amount. Days on the market. How many days are homes sitting on the market before going under contract? This is an indicator of if homes are being priced correctly. And then closed sales. How many sales are actually happening? How many homes are actually switching hands from seller to buyer in the city of Cape Coral? That's a great indicator of demand. The more closed sales we have, the higher demand we have. We often see a higher demand during our seasonal months, February, March, April, May, and then that starts to slow down in the summer months. And then once we get into August, September, and October, it really drops off before it starts picking back up again. Okay, active inventory. Currently in June 2026, we have 2,253 homes currently available on the market here in the city of Cape Coral. That's single family homes. March 2026, just 3 months ago, 2,546 homes available. And 1 year ago, June 2025, 2,994 homes available. Now, you know, if you've been watching my market reports for any length of time, you know that we keep seeing this inventory drop and drop and drop. And we keep saying, when is it going to hit the bottom? We expected inventory to jump up quite a bit more during season. Like in January, we're going to see it jump up. However, it jumped a little bit, but nothing near what it did in 2025. So currently we're sitting at 2,253 homes available compared to 2,994 1 year ago. That's over 700 homes, less homes on the market. So what happened to those homes? Well, many of them sold. We've seen buyer demand increase. Some folks have taken them off the market because they weren't getting the price that they wanted, so they're going to take them off the market and wait. And then also we have the story of new homes, builders building new homes, hitting the market, and we're starting to see that inventory decrease quite a bit from where it was a year, 2, 3 years ago. So we're keeping an eye on that as well. If we don't have the new homes coming to the market, then that does decrease inventory. Now, with that being said, you can still find a lot of homes on the market here in Cape Coral, hundreds of them, brand new homes ready to go, never before lived in, on the market here in Cape Coral. So we still have that market available. It's just not as many options as you once had. Now, one of the things that I wanted to point out as we go into the next screen here, we're going to talk about median price point. And right now we're sitting at June 2026 is $390,000 for a home here in Cape Coral. So 50% of the homes sold above that amount, 50% of the homes sold below that amount. March 2026, $365,000, and June 2025, $370,000. So looking at these numbers, you might say, Barry, 365 to 390, prices are going up. Prices are starting to jump. And I would say use caution on that because we're not really seeing prices jump a whole lot. They fluctuate quite a bit from month to month. Actually, back in March of 2026, if you look at my chart down here, the median price was $365,000. That's about as low as it's been in the last several years. Prices aren't jumping up. they're kind of stabilizing, and from month to month, they do go up a little bit and go down a little bit. Now, what I wanted to mention is if we look at the first 6 months of 2025 and compare that to the first 6 months of 2026, so we take the median price point divided by 6, get the average. In 2025, the average was $378,690. In 2026, it actually increased about just almost $5,000 to $383,000. So from $378,690 to $383,000. So we did see a price increase there a little bit. I wouldn't say that prices are starting to jump. I would say pay attention, because anytime you have supply start to lower substantially and our demand is increasing, eventually that's going to lead to higher prices, especially as the builders are slowing down quite a bit, or they slowed down quite a bit. So now we're starting to see what's happening because of that. So let's jump ahead here to days on the market. So June 2026, days on the market, 43 days on the market was what it took from a home once it was listed till it went under contract. Now these were for homes that were priced correctly, homes that looked great, that they didn't need a lot of updating, maybe newer construction. And then March 2026, it was 49 days, June 2025, 55 days. So as you can see, we are starting to see a decrease there as well, which is a great sign. Now, 43 days on the market is still a long time. So that number should come down quite a bit. I would like to see it around 21 days, but we still have a ways to go before we get there. Okay. Closed sales. So people say Cape Coral is a ghost town. Nobody's moving to Cape Coral. Everybody's leaving. Well, that story is just not true. June 2026, we sold 476 homes here in the city of Cape Coral. March 2026, just 3 months ago, we sold 530 that month. And then 1 year ago, June 2025, 476 homes were sold in the month of Cape Coral. These are single family homes. Does not include condos. I stick strictly to the single family home market. I think it's easier to follow. And then we can understand that condos probably track right along with that as well. But we don't have a lot of condos in the city of Cape Coral. It's mainly single family homes. That's why I stick with this market report. Okay, let's look at the chart down here. So closed sales, June 2025, 476. And then as we went into the summer months, as we always do, we start to see the sales drop off from where they're at during season. That'll probably follow the same suit this year. I don't know if it'll drop off as much before we get into season, and then we start seeing that jump up once again. Now, I wanted to give you the averages on this one. So closed sales, if we look at the first 6 months of 2025, we had 2,634 closed sales. If we look at the first 6 months of 2026, we had 2,784 closed sales. So we sold 150 more homes this year, the first 6 months, than we did last year. Now that's not a huge number, but it is showing the signs of a more increased demand here in the city of Cape Coral. Now, one of the things that I noticed, because I do the Gulf Access Canal home market update as well, is that the demand for Gulf Access Canal homes actually went up quite a bit year over year. So in 2026 compared to 2025, we've been selling a lot more Gulf Access Canal homes. That market started to really move a lot faster than the regular landlocked homes, or the homes on dry lots. So go ahead and check out that market update too. I just put that out a few days ago. It's the Cape Coral Gulf Access Canal market update, and you'll learn a lot about that market there. But right now, 476 homes sold in the month of June 2026, which is no small number. Up next, we have months of inventory. How many months of inventory? This is basically, if we didn't have another new home come to the market, it would take us this amount of time to completely sell out our inventory if we had the same demand that we have today. Anything above 6 months is considered a buyer's market. Anything below 4 months is considered a seller's market. So June 2026, 4.7 months of inventory. March 2026, 4.8 months. And 1 year ago, June 2025, 6.3 months of inventory. What I find very interesting here is that the last 4 months, we've been right in a neutral market. The narrative that Cape Coral is falling apart, the market in Cape Coral is horrible. There's so many homes for sale in Cape Coral, it's terrible. Nobody's buying in Cape Coral. Prices are plummeting. None of those narratives work right now if you look at the actual numbers. We're in a neutral market. We're not even a buyer's market right now. The last 4 months have been neutral, and we're going to stay there as we gradually get towards a seller's market. I'm thinking by early 2027, once we start to get into season, we're actually going to potentially be in a seller's market, meaning prices are going to start increasing, because that's all that can happen unless we have a whole lot of new inventory come to the market, which just isn't happening. There's nothing to indicate that we're going to see a lot of new homes come to the market. The builders have slowed down substantially. We're not going to have a lot of new construction come to the market. Resale, we did have a lot of homes come to the market shortly after Hurricane Ian in 2022. So we saw a huge jump in 2023, 2024. That has passed us. So if we don't have any storms this year, we're not going to see a whole lot of homes come to the market. That's one thing. The reality of it here is oftentimes when we do have a storm go through, a lot of people get a little skittish and then they come down and they sell their second home or their vacation home. And then that turns hands, that adds to the market. But it's not the big picture. The big picture is the inventory, because of new builders have slowed down and people aren't getting the price that they want for their house, so they pulled them off the market. We're gonna start to see prices go up though, unless inventory starts to increase substantially, which there's nothing that's indicating that. So I believe once we get into 2027, if you've been holding off for the last 3 or 4 years to sell your home because you weren't getting the price that you wanted, you might want to start entertaining the idea. Now, the market's not going to jump quickly. Prices aren't going to just go up overnight. However, they're going to start going up gradually. So the flip side of that is if you've been waiting for the bottom of the market, I don't think there's any bigger signs if you've been watching my market reports to know that we're at the bottom of the market right now and we're not going to go any lower. So if you wait, you're probably going to miss the bottom of the market. Go ahead and reach out to me if you want to do a strategy call. We can certainly chat about that and find out exactly what you're looking for to distinguish if now is the right time for you. Okay, let's look at current trends. So June 1st, the first week of June 2026, we had new listings. 103 new listings came to the market, sold 116. And then if we jump down here, we had 135 go pending. Price increase was at 10, and then price decrease was at 229 homes. This is a weekly snapshot. Now here's the first week of July 1st. We have new listings, 128 new homes came to the market. So we actually have more new listings coming in July. Sold 86. So we actually had a lower amount, and that's pretty standard. This number of 128 increasing over 123, that's a little bit higher. So I'm curious to see what that looks like once we get into August and get these July numbers. But I'm not really concerned that all of a sudden we're going to have a lot of inventory come to the market. But that's a little higher than we were last month, not by much. If we go down here to pendings, we had 115 pendings compared to 135 last month. And then price decrease, we have 204 price decreases compared to 229. And we actually saw 29 price increases, which that surprised me. If we start to see that price increase number jump up, that's a sign prices are going up, because that means people priced them, they put them on the market. Maybe they got a lot of action. A lot of people were interested in the home. They felt they priced it too low. And so then they changed the price to up the price. So that's a unique sign right there. Price increased, 29 homes increased in price. We haven't seen that for a while. Other key numbers to be aware of: sold price per square foot, $250 a square foot here in the city of Cape Coral. That's for a medium priced home. In Cape Coral, $250 a square foot. List price received, 98%. That number has increased. That number was lower. So basically whatever list price you're seeing, sellers are pretty much giving a 2% discount off the list price. And that's what buyers are getting. Before we were getting quite a bit more than that. However, we can still get quite a bit more than that. 2% is pretty low, but that right now is what it's looking at right now in the city of Cape Coral. That tells me we're not in a bad market at all, and it's starting to trend back towards a seller's market. New listings, we had 616 new homes come to the market in the city of Cape Coral. That's resale and new construction homes. And then months of inventory, back to that months of inventory, 4.7 months of inventory. So if we don't have another new home come to the market, it's going to take us just under 5 months to completely sell out all of our houses. On my Gulf Access market update report, we actually had a section of Cape Coral that was below the 4 months. It was in the 3 months range, and that was already a seller's market. Now, I'm not sure it's going to stay in that range. We'll have to see where those numbers are at next month, but it actually surprised me that we actually saw a section of the city go into a seller's market. Okay, key numbers. Inflation peaked at 9.1% back in June 2022. We're now sitting at 4.2%. Now, this has increased from where it was just a few months ago. We were at actually we were in the low 3s, high 2s. We started jumping up. We were at 3.8. Now we're at 4.2%. And a lot of that has to do with food and gasoline, things of that nature. So we're going to keep an eye on that to see if that continues to increase. If that continues to increase, then that really takes away the interest rates decreasing, because they'll probably remain higher as well. We did peak back in November of 2023 at 8% in interest rates. We're now sitting at about 6.5%. Our target is to be below 6%. Although the buyer demand that we are seeing now is due to the fact that people are getting tired of waiting. People waited a couple years, 2023, 2024. They said, I'm going to wait for rates to go down. I'm going to wait for rates to go down. Rates really never went down much. We're never going to see those 3% rates, not likely the 4% rates anytime soon. The folks up north, they got tired of waiting. They got tired of those cold winters. They said, Barry, it's time. I had a handful of folks that I've been speaking with for the last few years that keep telling Barry, we're going to wait, we're going to wait. Well, this last spring, they actually purchased homes here on the Gulf Access Canals, and they're ecstatic that they did. They actually love the homes. They love the lifestyle they're now living here in Cape Coral. Unemployment is at 4.2% and staying steady. We've been the high threes, low fours for the last several years. This is really not a number that's changing much at all. Supply, current inventory, 2,253 homes available here in the city of Cape Coral. That's a year-over-year decrease of almost 25%. That's a huge decrease, something to pay attention to, that our inventory continues to fall. That's been the story for the last year and a half. Demand. Population is currently estimated at 240,000 people here in the city of Cape Coral. In the next 4 years, we're expected to be over 260,000 people. We're one of the biggest cities population-wise and land size in the whole state of Florida. But we are the largest between Miami and Tampa when it comes to the amount of people that live here. So we're not a small town, but we do have that suburban feel because of how our city is set up. We don't have that big city feel. I always joke about whenever we're looking for some fun or excitement, we go over to Miami for a day or two, or we want to go to the parks in Orlando. That's just a 3-hour drive from Cape Coral, or go up to Tampa for some great food. Just so many different options around. Naples is just a 45-minute drive south. Got some great beaches down there and some great places to go enjoy. But we always get to come home to Cape Coral where it's relaxing and it's quiet, just a great place to be, but also to have the great larger cities within a range where you can just drive there for a night or two. Now, by 2050, we're expected to be at 320,000 people here in the city of Cape Coral, often ranked as one of the fastest growing cities in the entire country. All right, so is now the time to buy? I'm going to say yes, 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 because here's the thing. Inventory has shrunken a lot over the last year and a half. I keep hearing from my clients, Barry, we've been looking on Zillow, we've been looking on Realtor.com, we've been looking at the houses that you're sending us, and we're just not seeing the selection we were seeing a year or 2 years ago. What happened to all the houses? Well, when you go from 3,500 houses on the market to 2,300 houses on the market or 2,200 houses on the market, that's a huge chunk of the inventory that's gone away, that's disappeared. And so you just don't have the selection. So as the inventory continues to shrink, you do have fewer options. So number one, if you find a house that you fall in love with, you actually love, highly recommend making an offer. Give me a call. Let's chat about that property. Now, the other thing too is anytime you have inventory shrink and demand increase, like what's been happening for the last several months, prices are eventually going to follow. We haven't seen prices increase a whole lot over the last year, or last several years for that matter, but we have seen them stabilize, and we have started to see signs that they might start inching back up. If inventory stays low heading into early 2027, then we're going to see prices go up, especially with the demand that we always see in the first 6 months of the year. So with that demand, it's going to increase prices because there's just not inventory. So you have many people fighting over different properties. We actually had one recently with one of my clients that actually had a bidding war where they put in an offer and then somebody else put another offer in and then they went back and forth, which is something we haven't seen a whole lot here in the city of Cape Coral over the last few years. So is now the time to buy. If you're looking for the bottom of the market, we're there. If you're looking for a lot of options, well, right now you're going to have as many options as you're going to have, I think, for the next few years. So definitely take advantage of that. We're currently in a neutral market. Pay attention, though. Prices will start increasing. Stop wasting your time up there in the north shoveling walks, scraping windshields, and suffering through those miserable winters. The other thing is you're doing, too, is come October, every October, you're winterizing that boat, and you can't use it again until May. So why not have a place where you can put your boat in your backyard, dock it in your backyard, navigate the open water, 12 months a year, 365 days a year. You have that luxury here in Cape Coral. Not to mention the weather's absolutely amazing all year round. So stop wasting your time, stop wasting your life up there in the frigid cold. Get down here like I did. It took me 3 years. From the time that I decided I was going to move to Florida to the time I actually got here, it took me 3 years. That was a little bit disappointing, but once I got here, I certainly was happy I made it. All right, so next up, sellers are still willing to negotiate, but for how much longer? So sellers are still giving discounts or giving incentives, things like that, but we are starting to see that dry up as well. All right, is now the time to sell? Really, you got to ask yourself, why do you want to sell? We're not in that seller's market yet. We're edging that way. prices have stabilized. They're not increasing quite yet. Now, if you are trying to get those high numbers you saw back in 2021, 2022, it's not there. It's not going to be there for a long time. If you do need to sell, because maybe you were transferred in your job up north, or maybe you're getting a little older and it's time to be back closer to family, now's a great time to sell. And as long as we price the home right and prepare it right, we don't have any challenges selling that home. As you can see, we still have a lot of buyers buying here in Cape Coral, over 500 a month through season. Now, the thing that you have to understand is the home has to be prepared correctly and has to be priced correctly. We can sell any home out there as long as it makes sense to the buyers. Inventory and rates are trending down. We continue to see inventory drop. That's only going to help sellers. Rates trending down. That's going to help sellers as well. And then strategic selling. It's so important with your real estate agent to make sure that they're doing strategic selling through social media, that they're implementing AI in order to sell your property correctly. And not just writing descriptions, but there's so many different levels of AI in order to sell your property through the marketing aspects of it, putting together the plans, all kinds of crazy stuff out there right now that my team is able to do to help give your home the maximum amount of exposure to get it sold as quick as possible for the highest price. And then also you need an agent that understands the market. Every market is different. Every street is different. So you want to have an agent that understands the market, the Gulf Access homes, freshwater canal homes, all the homes here in Cape Coral from one neighbor to the next. Does it have assessments? Is it on well and septic? Is it on city water and sewer? Just so many different variables. So it's important to have an agent that understands the market or the neighborhood that you're in order to sell that home for the highest amount of money as quick as possible. All right. And that concludes the market update. I do want to let you know about our out of town buyers club and sellers club. We help buyers and sellers from out of the town all the time, from New York, Chicago, Minneapolis, Cleveland, Columbus, all over the Midwest and Northeast, even out to the out west. We've been helping clients from Seattle lately, coming on down here to Florida. So if you are out of town, you're looking at some homes, you're thinking, Barry, I'm thinking about moving to Florida, make sure you check out the rest of my videos on Gulf Access Canal homes, and also book that strategy call with me, because that's where it all starts. Once we do a strategy call, once we have that conversation, we can talk about different areas of Cape Coral. We can talk about taxes, insurance, flood zones, distance to open water, bridge heights, all that stuff that you have to know in order to make a wise decision when purchasing a home here in Cape Coral. So go ahead and reach out to me. Let's start that conversation. Now, if you do own a house here and you're thinking that maybe it is time to sell, maybe you need to move back north, or for any reason, then go ahead and reach out to me as well. I'm able to help you with the exact pricing and strategy that'll get that home sold as quick as possible. I know you may be up north already. Maybe you're already living with family up north. Maybe you're spending your summer up north and you're thinking maybe you're not going to come down again next year. You want to get that home put on the market. Go ahead and reach out to me. Let's have that conversation and see how that can be done to make your life easier and to help you accomplish your goals. One last thing, stop living. If you're a buyer and you're thinking about moving to Cape Coral, winter's right around the corner. It's July. It's hot right now. You're out on your boat having fun on Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, somewhere up there. But understand, it's only a couple more months. And before you know it, you're going to be winterizing that boat. It's going to be put away into storage, and you're not going to be able to use it for the next 6 to 7 months after that. Come on down to Cape Coral. The weather's fine. The water's fine. Everything's great here. You can be sipping your mojito on your lanai, overlooking your boat, watching the sunset in January, February, March. Well, any month of the year, really. But go ahead and reach out to me. Let's have that conversation. Click the link or scan the QR code, and let's get started.